their judge, their lawyer, the former President Joseph Daudu. Then you talk about, there's another one of them, Justice Auta, who even sat, at the trial, the so-called trial of Kensariwa, which led to the Sange. So they have history of persecution. They have history of prejudicial, activity. They have history of not examining the merits of cases before they do. Because when you look at everything that Kensariwa was hung on, you discover that he was really not culpable. He shouldn't have been treated the way he's treated. The same thing is happening to Salami now. They discover themselves and they cannot insist that the president should do what they want to do. There's a way they can protest it. He mentioned the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And that is why we are arguing that the two positions should be separated. I would prefer you call him Minister of Justice, not Attorney General of our own federation. Now, because as a Minister of Justice, he's a politician. And he was appointed by a politician. And they all belong to the same party. And this party are nest of fraudulent practitioners who somebody has described as
in a minute.
Nest of killers.
Sorry,
to what you just said. In your question, you raised the issue of dependency of a suit, that was the excuse given for not lifting the suspension. But it is farcical. We are in a funny country. When a particular game favors those in power, they decide to play it one way. When it does not favor them, they decide to play it another way. Like now, they are saying that because the matter is in court, they are not going to lift the suspension. Assuming that they even had the power to apply disciplinary measures, they are now using that as an excuse. But that has never stopped the executive, the president or the attorney general from acting. Like I can give you a very recent sad case that just happened. I am aware, I participated in a matter where the extradition of a Nigerian to the United States came up. And in that matter, the Justice Buba of the Federal High Court gave a judgment granting the request to extradite the Nigerian to the United States. An appeal was immediately filed with a motion for stay of execution. The matter, every process required to be filed had been filed before the Court of Appeal. The matter came up before the Court of Appeal, I think February 26th, and they said the Attorney General was represented by a counsel from the Attorney General's chambers who said that some of the processes had just been served on them. Even the brief of argument had been served on them, the record of appeal, the motion for stay, and the presiding justice of the Court of Appeal in Lagos adjourned the matter to, I think, March 8th for hearing of the motion for stay and other pending applications. On March 1, the Nigerian was taken to the United States. He was remanded in the Nigerian prisons. The Attorney General, the Ministry of Justice, the NDLA, and the prisons, in collusion with the officials of the U.S. government, carried him and took him to the United States while the matter is pending, thereby foisting a fait accompli on the Court of Appeal. There, they did not wait for the decision of the. And if you look at our constitution, it has provided that even if you want to extradite, Section 40, I think, of the Constitution says if you want to extradite a person, you must do it in accordance with the procedure permitted by the law. And the procedure permitted by the law, if you look at Section 240 and 241, it permits you to appeal a decision of the Federal High Court to the Court of Appeal for its decision. Even if you are not satisfied, you exhaust the remedies available. You go to the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court pronounces and says that you are wrong, they should extradite you, then you can be extradited. There was a decision in the past, Bello and Attorney General of Oyo State, where a person was executed by the state pending the determination of his appeal. And the Supreme Court found that they called it executive murder. And the same thing is happening again. Now, the current attorney, this is a very recent event, the current Attorney General just extradited in Nigeria while a case is pending in court. Now they are saying in the case of Justice Salami, the case is pending in court, they are not going to. It is funny, it is crazy. We live in a sickening society. And that is why they are taking They are not. They are removing the judiciary as the last resort of the common man.
Right.
It is saddening.
Okay, so will it be better for Justice Salami to return to court, to enforce his rights, other than wait for the president's endorsement or the NJC's?
It's in court already.
The funny thing I have explained, and I think the NJC said that, but the NJC put themselves in that situation. The president does not need to be involved in the suspension or the reinstatement of Justice Salami, because the president does not have disciplinary control over the judicial officer.
So if the president does not react on this, would it be right to make the courts to expedite the action?
What ordinarily should happen, I do not want to use the word timidity. I know for reasons best known to them. What ordinarily should happen is that the NJC can approach the courts, file an originating summons, and seek the interpretation of paragraph 21, subparagraph B of the third schedule to the Constitution, ask the court to determine who has the power to apply disciplinary measures to the judicial officers. It is not removal we are talking about here. If it is removal, they can recommend to the president, and the president can remove. But the NJC, they said that we don't even need the president to lift the suspension, and they sat back. Now the president has appointed an acting president of the Court of Appeal. You cannot expect Justice Salami to pack his books and say that, well, since they said I should be there, move out, and let me go in. That will put us in a turmoil. But what they should do is go to the court. The NJC, not even Justice Salami, but Justice Salami can go.
But
the
Justice Salami is already
in court, but we are not. What are we hearing about that decision? We are hearing next to about that case. Nobody knows where the case is.
They are trying to blackmail him to withdraw the case from court.
But seriously, it's a simple matter. NJC go to court, seek the file originating summons, seek the interpretation of that particular provision of the Constitution. Who has the disciplinary measures? The court will say, and ask for consequential orders. If the court says that the NJC has disciplinary measure, then they can make consequential order to say that the decision of the NJC should prevail as against that of the president, who does not have any power in that regard. Like I said, the NJC put itself in this situation by, in the first place, making a recommendation to the president for the suspension of Justice Salami, a recommendation which they ought not to have made.
If you have a chance of advising the president, what would you be saying to him now?
It is simple. You don't have the power. You have sworn to uphold the Constitution. The Constitution does not give you the power to apply disciplinary measures. You are delving into waters that are beyond your limit. Just back out. Let them do what they want to do. And ask them. What I tell them, maybe they don't understand what their constitutional powers are. You can advise them and say that, see, I don't have this power. The power I have is to remove when you make that recommendation, but I cannot apply disciplinary measures. Therefore, don't make recommendations to me that are not supposed to be made to me. Just back out. But we are talking about the legal aspect here. Beyond the legal aspect, there are a lot of other factors that are in play, and for God knows why, these factors seem to be clouding.
Actually, let me take that to Debo then. Debo, when you look at all the things that are at play with regard to this particular issue, you want to look at the fact that some people had alleged that Justice Salami was influenced by a political party that is probably not the party in government.
That's right.
And if that being the case, would you say that this is just completely a political decision that has nothing to do with our judiciary or to do with our legal system?
That's what I said earlier, that what has happened was a political decision by the president, because I think he acted on impulse. That my lieutenants from the states have complained about these things, and that they made all efforts to even blackmail the panel that sat. You remember Justice Naron's case in Osun State, where there was a exchange of messages and phone calls between him and Kunle Kalejaye, who was standing for one of the parties in the case in the first electoral petition panel. And that has been found out to be authentic, and Justice Naron had been punished. Now, he appointed another set of people to adjudicate on the same petition in the electoral thing. And at the end of the day, it was not the first